How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about SOFI, which had quite the pullback in the market after the performance we saw going down in the after hours. But it's also something that we shouldn't be surprised about because we talked about this when taking a look at the chart. It will come back to fill in that gap. But we'll talk about it further in this video. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the recent short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for SOFI. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $11.58, being up 3.39%. On the low, it tested $11.51, and then on the high, testing $13. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 146.989 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 74.246 million shares. And what we could see, we did have above average volume on the day, but we did deal with a good amount of selling pressure due to the fact we had a strong run up in the after hours from the previous day. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, we can see from the RSI down below, it is at 47.20. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, we're also below the 50-day, and we also went below the 21-day EMA where it's at $11.73, and we close at $11.58. So as far as going into tomorrow, if we continue to have a pullback, then we want to see if support could actually hold up here at $11.15. If this level breaks, of course, then we want to see $11 hold up. But one thing that is very clear though, I think this does provide a buying opportunity if you're interested in the long-term prospects. And if it does fall below $10, that's where you guys know that's where I look to actually load the boat. If we end up having a turnaround, then of course I want to see us get back above $12. That would be a very key level, or just being above the 21-day EMA at $11.73, and then continuing an uptrend from there would be the most ideal. But with these red candles that we have right here, this is not the greatest of signs, but we also can't ignore the fact we do have higher lows here, and you can see these higher lows for the past 4 trading days. So having a turnaround is definitely possible for SOFI, so you want to keep this one on your watch list. Now let's move on to the short interest information. For the short interest information, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 41.29%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 16.12 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 300,000, updated just now. And then for the short ball-free rate, it is at 1.28%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we can see for the close of the 28th, it is at 47.09. And then for the close of the 1st, which was yesterday, being at 41.29. So what this shows us, even though we did have a significant decrease, SOFI continues to have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for SOFI. So we see on the inflow, it's at 361, and then on the outflow, it is at 372. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 13.72. On the medium, it was 223. And then on the small, it was 125. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it's 11.32. On the medium, it is 241. And then on the small, it was 119, which contributed overall to be an outflow day. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you could see for today, March the 2nd, it being that inflow of 2.4 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, or funds, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 18.25%. So of course, this is very high for a stock like SOFI. But like I was saying before previously, when it was in that $13 area, there was just a lot of people who just started selling. And we know it does attract the attention of a lot of traders. But I feel if you're a long-term investor, this is the play you want to keep on your radar, even if you do not want to buy in as of yet. But of course, this is not financial advice, and it does trade at a fairly high valuation. So now let's get into the final thoughts, and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for SOFI, when it comes to the price action, we still finished green on the day, even though we had a strong sell-off in the beginning. But when we take a look at the chart, we've been forming higher lows for the past 4 trading days. So going into tomorrow, it is definitely going to be interesting. If I see strength inside of the market, I'm going to be expecting SOFI to pick back up. Even though we did have an analyst that came out and lowered their price target from 16.50 down to 15.50, there's still some upside inside of the play. And of course, over the span of this year and all of the developments that are going to be coming, which I talked about in previous videos, then we could see SOFI actually getting to at least $20 at some point. And that's why I'm very bullish on this play. If you are thinking about doing a long-term investment, for myself, I love adding on some shares when it falls below $10. And there's a good chance I may not get that, but I'm going to be prepared to actually grab some when it gets to that level. And the reason being is, even if we take a look at the price to book, it is just over 2. And when it comes to banking plays, usually they say you want to be buying it when the price to book is below 2. So if we can get it below 2, plus it's a growth stock in the fintech space, I feel like you're really setting yourself up nicely. But aside from that, we still have some upside in the play, and do your homework and do your due diligence and find out if it is right for you. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. No surprises there. It does get a lot of attention on social media and a lot of interest from retail investors and as well as traders. So that's why there's going to be volatility no matter how you slice it. And all of the selling that we saw, especially at the beginning of the day, we have to understand there are a lot of people who bought in at a much higher average cost. So the moment they see that stock spike back up, you already know they have their limit sells in there and they get triggered. So don't be frustrated with the price action that you saw. SOFI will pick itself back up. And like I said before, this stock will get to $20 at some point this year. I am very bullish on this play, and please don't use my videos as financial advice. I want to make sure that I'm very clear about that. Do your homework, do your due diligence, find out if this play is right for you. And if you are going to be trading it, if you want to do swings and so forth, know what your entry is going to be, know what your exit is going to be. Make sure you have a stop loss, because this is very important so you can dominate inside of the market and have a strategy to help you see more success when it comes to your trading. Because when it comes to trading, you want to make sure you're maximizing the upside in your winners, but at the same time, you want to make sure you're minimizing your losses. That's how you become successful. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.